everyone, it's Tammy Mastroberte with Elevated Existence. Welcome back. And I have a question for you. Do you worry about the future? Anybody worry about what's coming? I think we all do it. We all do it to a certain degree, some of us more than others. And what happens really is there's something that you're faced with that's going to happen either in your life, someone else's life, something that's coming, and you don't know what you're going to face. There's an element of uncertainty about what is coming for you or for someone you love. That uncertainty that we all face breeds fear because what's going to happen to us? We don't know what's going to happen to us. Anything could happen at this point. And so what that does is it literally tripwires worry. We have uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds fear. Now we're in the cycle of worry. Now we're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, there's so many things that could possibly happen, right? And so now we start thinking, this could happen, and what if that happens, and what if we go here and something goes crazy, and what could happen? There's so many things that could happen. And all of these scenarios that worry cycle is taking us in, they're never positive. They're never like, oh, I'm so worried that everything is going to go well. I'm so stressed out that everything's going to go the way that I want it to go. That doesn't happen, right? That's not really the life that most of us are living. Most of the time, uncertainty breeds fear, breeds worry, and worst case scenario. So I want to just give you a couple of tips the next time you find yourself sort of worried about the future. Anytime you find yourself in the moment where you're now worried about the uncertainty of what is to come in some area of your life, or in maybe sometimes you're worried about someone else's life or someone that you love. The first thing I want you to do is recognize that you're doing it again. Recognize that you're now, even if it's just you're at work and you're like, oh, I know there's going to be traffic on the way home. It's going to be miserable. Recognize that you're now worried about, now you're, even a little piece of you is worried about how much traffic you're going to hit on the way home. Or whatever, you could be worrying about something big in your life and what you're going to face. It could be going to a doctor's appointment. It could be moving to a new town. Whatever is kind of happening for you that's creating that worry. I want you to stop yourself for a second and say, oh my gosh, I'm doing this again. I'm doing this again. And I don't want to feel like this. This is not making me feel good. And I want to feel good. Next, in order to feel good, you're going to take that worry, take the outcome that you're uncertain about and worried about, and I want you to surrender it and hand it over to the universe or spirit or source. Hand it over. Say, you know what? The universe has my back. The universe knows way more. Spirit never leads me in the wrong direction. It doesn't. As long as I am stopping driving myself crazy and blocking the flow of the help that's constantly being provided, does not lead me in the wrong direction. I remember years ago, Oprah Winfrey, it was probably a couple of years ago, Oprah had interviewed the rapper 50 Cent. Unlikely source, I know, but she was interviewing him. And he said probably one of the most profound statements that has to do with this topic. And what he said that stuck with me was, I pray or I worry, but I don't do both. Think about that. I pray or I worry. But if I'm praying, then why am I going to worry about it? Right? So you are going to hand it over, say a prayer for whatever the best outcome might be, and then you're going to try and let it go. And anytime it comes up, you hand it over again. Over and over and over. As many times as it come up, you stop and you say, I'm handing this back over to you to handle. And I'm trusting that I'm going to be led in the right direction. The next thing that I want you to do is to remember that you do have some control over your reaction to things and the creation of your future. We are co-creators. We're constantly creating our reality with our thoughts and our emotions. So instead of going to the worst case scenario and imagining the worst thing that could happen, what if we utilize this power that we have and did it in a positive way? So what if we imagined everything working out perfectly? What if we imagined the best case scenario instead of the worst case scenario? So you hand it over and you imagine everything working out exactly as it's meant to be and you being happy with the end results. That would be different than that fear and worry cycle, right? That would sort of change that and shift that whole thing around, because now you're imagining what is amazing that could happen instead of what is the worst that can happen. And then the last thing I want you to do is remind yourself you have been uncertain before. You have been in your life in a situation where you didn't know what was coming next. And you made it through. I always go back to my mother's death when I was 22 years old. She died suddenly of a brain aneurysm 3 days after Christmas in 1999. And I always go back and think, my gosh, I made it through that. And wonderful things have come from that. And I know she's working with me from the other side. I know she's still here. I know she's sending me signs and synchronicities and teaching me and moving me forward in my life. I made it through that. If something good can come out of that, because I know it led me to where I am spiritually today, then I know something good can come out of everything. So think back into your life. What have you made it through that ended up being okay? Because when you can go back and find that, then you have so much more faith in the universe and in your future. And then worrying is not as stressful, is not as first thing on your mind. You can stop that. You can say, why am I worrying? Look at all these things that have already worked out fine before. So I hope those things help you. I hope it helps you kind of break free of that cycle of worry about the future. And I will see you next time.